Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. I'm going to start out with this. I'm going to be talking about some kind of heavy stuff in today's video. This is not typically the kind of title that you see here on my channel. Obviously, normally I'm about, positivity and happiness and makeup and, teaching things and sharing information and whatnot. And that's still obviously, nothing's changed there. That's what my channel is about. But I really do feel that I owe it to myself to make this video, and I also feel like that I owe it to you guys to make this video because, without sounding like I'm up myself or whatever, I know that there are a lot of people out there that look up to me, and I just feel like in a lot of ways I've been lying to myself and to you guys, and I really want to set things straight. And I also really do hope that today's video potentially may be able to help any of you out there who, have gone through the same thing or potentially even, are going into and are, sort of looking like you may be heading into this kind of a thing in your life. I really want to prevent it from happening because it is horrible, it is not safe, it is not healthy, and I don't want anybody else to do it. So in today's video, we're going to be talking a lot about body image, we're going to be talking a lot about weight loss, and I just want to, if anything in this, like anything around that scope triggers you, I would advise you to please click off. If you are triggered by eating disorders, I want you to click off. If it's not something that you want to see, then please, don't put yourself through this. I'm obviously not trying to cause any issues for anybody else, but this is something that I need to talk about. I'm going to try not to get too emotional about it, but it is not going to be easy. I basically just want to share my story with something that I've been going through, since I was a very, very young teenager, and just kind of warn you guys about how dangerous it is and how heartbreaking, and I'm honestly so ashamed that I put myself through this. I didn't want to get emotional. I honestly didn't. I'm ashamed that I did this to myself. I've got 6 years of medical training. I should be smarter. I should know better. I know how to look after myself properly, and for whatever reason, I just haven't. I really want to prevent this happening to any of you guys. So basically, I'm going to be sharing my story, what I have gone through in my life in reference to body dysmorphia, eating disorders, and just really, really damaged, self-image. So pretty much the story starts when I was very young. Now, Mum would be able to confirm this, but I feel like since I was the age of 10, at the age of 10, maybe younger. I remember I was in primary school. Since that age, I have pretty much always thought that I was overweight. I always looked at other people. I've always, and still do to this day, compare myself to other people. It started when I was very, very young. I remember I was in the bath, as a young kid, you obviously have baths, but I remember sitting in the bath and feeling the folds of skin around my belly, around my tummy, and this is, the root of all of this is that I've never actually been overweight my entire life, and that's why this is so unhealthy. But I remember feeling the folds of skin and the rolls around my tummy, and this is as a 10-year-old, this is so messed up, and just thinking to myself, I'm so fat, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I as skinny as the other girls? Why aren't I, just consistently comparing myself to others and then beating myself up? It started out so young. I remember thinking all the way through high school that I was fat, and I put myself on my first diet. Gosh, how old are you when you were in grade 6? I can't even remember, very, very young. Now, I was very, very active. I was very active growing up. I played a lot of sport. I played a lot of professional sport, and I ate a very, very healthy diet as a result. My mum was a nurse, and she was a single mum, but she really, really looked after us. She really, really looked after what we ate. We always ate, really good nutritious food, really good consistency, good balance. There was nothing wrong with my diet. I was very, very active, and it didn't matter what I did. I've just always been convinced that I was fat. Now, obviously growing up, going through high school and then starting to buy, teenage magazines and stuff, it then turned into me looking at, people in the movies, people in TV shows, people in the magazines. I was always they're so tall, they're so, they've got the skinniest arms, they've got the flattest tummies, they don't have hips, they don't have thighs. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with my body? Now, I never show my body on here. I'm just not comfortable with doing it at all, but I have an hourglass figure. And if you can remember back then, you know, it's hourglass figures have only really become like trendy, I guess you could say, in the last few years. Back then, if you had thighs, if you had a bum, if you had hips, you were fat. Other kids called me fat all the time. I remember people saying, you know, like, oh, you've got such a huge ass. Like, I'm just getting so ridiculously upset about it as a young girl. I don't know if that's what it was that sent me into the spiral that I ended up in. I don't know if that's what it was. I don't know if it was seeing people in movies who were super, super thin, you know, had really like long, skinny legs, long, skinny arms, and thinking, well, I don't look like that, so there must be something wrong with me. I honestly don't know what it is, but it started then. It started as a 10-year-old and it just spiraled worse and worse and worse as I have grown up through my life. Now, I have stayed active throughout my whole life. I've tried to eat really, really well. I've always tried to exercise as much as possible and, you know, keep active, keep fit, but it didn't matter what I did. I could never get away from thinking and believing and feeling that I was fat and that I was overweight. Now, moving into high school and, you know, obviously the internet was a lot more accessible and things in magazines were a lot more accessible. I first learned about dieting, and I'm not talking about like healthy lifestyle dieting. I'm not talking about, you know, maybe making slight modifications to how you eat. I'm talking like straight up hardcore crazy crash diets. I honestly don't remember what it's like to not be on a diet. Like throughout high school, through studying at university, I put myself on every single diet out there. I did Atkins, I did Dukan, I did vegan, I did this crazy Dr. Caruso cleanse thing, juice cleansers. I did that thing where you would add lemon and cayenne pepper to water and drink that and nothing else. I've been high carb, I've been low carb, I've been keto, I've done the Michelle Bridges challenges, I have done Weight Watchers, I have done Light and Easy, and over the years it's just gotten worse and worse. I was restricting myself more and more with the food that I ate and absolutely killing myself at the gym. Now, the thing about these crash diets is that they don't work. And also, what's even more ridiculous about this whole story is I never had a weight issue to begin with. I was never overweight to begin with. Perfectly healthy BMI, perfectly healthy body fat percentage, very active. Like, eating disorders don't come from like a logical place. They don't come from a, you know, well, the scales say this, yet you feel like this. Like, your brain doesn't really match the two up. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter how thin I got. It didn't matter how low I could get my body fat percentage. It didn't matter. I always felt like I hated my body. I felt like I was fat. I felt like I was overweight. I hated my hips. I hated my thighs. I hated my curves. I hated my arms. I hated absolutely everything. The other thing about these crash diets is they do not work. Now, please, and I'm, you know, if you're anything like me, and this is not an uncommon issue, especially amongst young women, please don't think that reducing your calories to 1,200 calories a day and killing yourself doing 2 hours of cardio a day, that you're going to be able to lose weight healthily and not put it back on. It is absolutely not true. There's so much crap that's advertised out there. There's so many lies that people are being told. Starving yourself and flogging yourself at the gym, it doesn't work. It's never worked and it's never going to work. And I kind of learned it the hard way, but I think that they say like 95% of people that go on, you know, these super restrictive diets like keto or, you know, the Dukan diet or reducing calories by such a significant amount, like people think that they're going to drop a lot of weight, and sure, in the space of about 3 to 4 weeks, you will drop a lot of weight. Your body will go into starvation. It will start living off its fat stores. You will drop a lot of weight, but your body gets to a point where it's basically struggling to survive, and it will hold on to every little last thing that you put in your mouth. So it doesn't matter. And this is kind of how I ended up in the situation that I ended up in, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But every single little thing that you can put into your mouth, and it doesn't matter if it's a protein shake, it doesn't matter if it's a piece of celery, it is going to store. So rather than using that food for fuel properly and, effectively creating energy that it can use and burn for cellular function, it is going to store that because it is so scared of the famine and the restrictive environment that you've put it in. It's so scared basically that it's going to die that it will store things to prepare itself for when you're next going to starve it. So I would go on these diets. I would do it very, very consistently. I was, I thought, it was such an achievement. I was like, yes, I'm starving myself on this super awesome diet. I've lost 4 kilos in 1 week. I'm feeling great. I feel like I've got things under control. I'm in control of the situation. It made me feel really good. It was like this whole achievement thing. And then by week 2 of the diet, my body has kind of like cottoned on to what I'm doing, and it's going, I'm not getting enough energy in to support cellular function. I'm not getting enough energy in to support brain activity. I'm not getting enough energy in to be able to actually do normal every day-to-day tasks. So I'm not giving up any of these fat stores anymore. Nah. I'm going to hold on to them. And so basically nearly every single time by week 2, I would stop losing weight. Now, if you've been a yo-yo dieter or a crash dieter, I'm sure that you can relate to that. I'm sure that you know exactly what I'm talking about because it is a very, very real thing. Your body is so smart. My body's so smart. Your body's so smart. Everybody's body is so smart. And we still try to think that we can outsmart it. We still try to think, well, actually, I'm gonna go behind your back and I'm gonna do what's worse for you and I'm gonna trick you to get what I want out of you. It doesn't work, guys. It's the stupidest way to think. And for the longest time, I don't know why I thought that this would work. You cannot starve yourself and expect to be able to perform at university. You cannot starve yourself and expect to be able to work night shift and function normally without feeling like you are actually going to die. As soon as you restrict your calories to below, let's say, maximum 20%, probably more 15% of what your body needs to function. And when I say that, I mean that's not including exercise. Like that's not taking exercise into consideration at all, just to function. So if you were to lay in bed all day, do absolutely nothing, if you reduce your calories below what you need to be able to do that, your body is not going to reduce its fat stores. It will not. It will hold on to every last little fat cell because all of a sudden it thinks, okay, I'm going to be starved here. I'm not going to be fed for quite a long time. It drops your metabolism and it drops it by about 45 to 50%. For a female, my age, 29 years old, perfectly normal BMI, if I'd reduce my calories less than 1200 a day, my metabolism, my metabolic rate, the energy that my body makes and uses every day to function and survive, it reduces it by 45%. Half of what it was before. Because obviously it's like a car, without fuel, your car's not going to drive anywhere, is it? Or it's going to drive very, very slowly. Your body's exactly the same. If you are not giving it fuel to survive, it's not going to work properly. Your metabolism adjusts to how much energy that you are putting in, and it basically does everything that it can to survive. Now, you've seen those people. I've been that person, starving themselves every single day, flogging it, 2 hours on the treadmill or, an hour of HIIT workouts every single day, but seemingly don't lose any weight. You've seen those people. I've been that person. It doesn't change. Like you absolutely, no matter what you do, you cannot outsmart this system. So I just want to say that, I just want to explain that, and hopefully that made sense for you before I sort of tell you what I got myself into and how I got myself into it. So like I said, I was putting myself on these crash diets. I was hoping that, it was going to change the world, that I was going to lose heaps and heaps of weight. The sad part is I didn't need to lose the weight in the first place. It's just this messed up vision that I have in my head that because I don't look like that super, super skinny girl on the front of the magazine, that means that I'm not good enough. It's so messed up. It's so unhealthy. And we look at all these celebrities and they've all had liposuction. They're airbrushed within an inch of themselves. They don't even look like that in person. Like these people don't look like they've got cellulite because it's been airbrushed off. It's all fake. None of it's true. You go onto like a clothing website and, you're trying to pick out clothes to wear, like to buy, and every single model that you see their clothes on are all super, super skinny, like size 4. And you're like, Why don't my legs look like that? Why don't those clothes look like that on me when I wear them? And the sad part is, like, I know this. I know how much they Photoshop stuff. Like like I work in this industry now, and I've met most of the models that you see on the front of the magazines. Like, and I know this stuff, and it still didn't help me to break, this cycle of like expectations, like unrealistic expectations and body dysmorphia. None of it helped me. None of it fixed the problem for me. So I would put myself on these crash diets, and I would flog myself within an inch of my life. If I even put one bad thing in my mouth that wasn't crash diet approved, whatever plan I was following on, I would beat myself up so much. I would beat myself up mentally, and I would beat myself up physically. Like the next day at the gym, I would work out for 3 hours to make up for that stupid chocolate muffin that I ate the day before. It was just like this constant thing. So starvation, and then your brain does this thing where it takes over when it's not getting enough nutrients in, it's not getting enough like energy or calories in, and it basically takes over and takes over your ability to make smart decisions, I guess, and it causes you to binge eat. So if you've done crash dieting, yo-yo dieting, you'll be very, very familiar with binge eating. Basically, you starve yourself for a week or whatever, you give yourself one cheat meal, for the week or for the fortnight or whatever it is, and rather than just enjoying, that cheat meal for what it is, maybe having like a couple of slices of pizza that you've been looking forward to or whatever, you literally eat the whole pizza, and then you eat everything in the house as well, because your brain takes over and it goes, nah, you've starved me for so long. I've not been able to function for so long. My cellular energy has not been able to work for so long that you're going in the back seat. Like, I'm not listening to you anymore. You are killing me, and I'm going to make decisions for us because I need to survive. I need energy to survive. I need energy to produce energy. Like, I need fuel to make energy. And you just mindlessly eat and eat and eat. Now, this is something that I have struggled with for a really, really long time. Pretty much I never had an issue with it. And the funny part about all of this is I never had a problem with binge eating and like junk food until I started to put myself on these stupid diets, until I started to think that I was fat. I never had an issue with it. So then it turns into this cycle. So starve yourself, binge, feel horrible about what you've done, hate yourself when you put your clothes on, hate yourself when you leave the house, hate yourself when you look in the mirror, starve yourself as punishment, work out like absolute crazy as punishment, and then your brain takes over again and says, hello, you're starving me, I can't do this anymore. So then you binge, and then the whole cycle repeats itself. So I'm 29 now. I think I've been doing this more than 15 years. I've struggled with this for more than 15 years. I can't remember what it's like to not be on a diet and to not have a problem with food or feel out of control with food and where food's concerned, or sort of just be like my whole life kind of revolves around food. And like I said, I've never actually been overweight, but my weight has fluctuated a lot as a result of this, and it's always the same, like 5 kilograms. I'll lose the 5 kilos, I'll gain the 5 kilos. Like, I'll go on this crazy diet, lose the 5 kilos, but then gain the 5 kilos as soon as I'm off the diet, because my body's like, hello, this isn't a healthy body weight. I honestly don't know how I survived. I don't know how I got pushed through 6 years of university, pushed through, my final years of high school. I don't know how I did it. I honestly don't know how I did it when I was abusing my body so badly. Like, I honestly don't. And like I said, it's just even more unbelievable, really, because I've got medical training. I understand the cycle. I understand how the body works and how it functions, and I know about ATP and metabolism and what's needed and macronutrients and cellular activity. Like, I know about all this stuff, but it didn't make a difference for me, and I still made the same stupid mistakes. Well, then enters YouTube. This environment of what I do comes with so much pressure. You go to all these crazy events and everybody is a size 0. Everybody has, they're the tallest, skinniest people ever. They've got perfect hair. They don't have any frizziness or flyaways. They don't have any wrinkles on their face. They don't have enlarged pores. They don't look tired. They don't look like anything, honestly. Sometimes I think to myself, like, are these people vampires? Like, I don't know how they look like this all the time. Literally not one dark under eye circle. Insight, no cellulite. They're supermodels. And I would go to these events and I would just feel so inadequate. like, and obviously coming from a background of already beating myself up and punishing myself so much, already thinking that I was fat when I wasn't, already having these major body dysmorphia issues, you know, walking into that scene, it was just too much for me. It was way too much for me. And then you couple that with comments from people and abuse that you get online, people just absolutely picking you apart, calling you fat, calling you ugly, saying that you look tired, saying that your eyes are bloodshot, you know, absolutely picking you apart for every single little thing. You put the two of those together, plus the history, and things basically... It got out of control for me. I hated myself, and I have spent years hating myself for no reason. I hated what I saw when I looked in the mirrors, you know, and like, oh, you know, your arms are so flabby and thick, and you know, you don't look skinny enough when you turn side on, or that dress doesn't look the same on you as it does on her, and just beating myself up constantly, just constantly beating myself up about it. And it's funny too, like, I feel like some of these people that comment awful things on the internet, like, even though they don't know you, and even though it can't possibly be personal, it can't possibly be a personal attack, somehow they still know exactly what to say. It's like they nearly know the things that you're most insecure about. It's like they know, and they know exactly what to say just to make you feel even worse. So basically, you know, at this point, all of my crash diets, yo-yo dieting had failed me. So I was like, okay, I need to be able to fit into this world. I need to be able to, like, this is my job now. I need to fit in here. And so I thought, well, my yo-yo diets aren't working. I'm going to need extra help to lose this weight. I'm going to need, you know, obviously there's something wrong with me. I'm such a fat slob. I can't seem to stick on a diet long enough to actually be able to lose the weight. There's something wrong with me inside. I need help. So I took myself off to a doctor and I got weight loss tablets. And my mum is going to kill me when she watches this because I haven't even told her about this, and she's going to kill me when she finds out that I did this. So, enter the era where Nikkia starts abusing weight loss tablets. Now, the weight loss tablet that I'm talking about is Duromine or phentermine. Legally, I should not have even been able to get it because you are legally supposed to be over a certain BMI, like morbidly obese, to be able to be prescribed these. But there are doctors out there, you know, that do prescribe it, and please, God forbid, please, nobody take these tablets. They are absolutely horrendous. They're absolutely so bad for you. In a lot of ways, they're kind of like a watered down version of amphetamines. Basically what they do is they reduce your appetite so much that you never want to eat, and they apparently increase your metabolism as well, and basically you lose weight without having to do anything at all. Now, that doesn't come without side effects. I'll just tell you that now. And if you're predisposed to anxiety, good Lord, I cannot even begin to tell you the terror. Now, this all started, I think, about 4 years ago? I started abusing weight loss tablets because my yo-yo dieting was no longer working anymore, and I just hated myself so much for that. You know, I just thought, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm trying so hard. I'm restricting what I eat so much, and I'm working out so hard, and I'm not losing weight. There's obviously something wrong with me, and so I started abusing these tablets. Now, this is something I am really, really ashamed of. And the funny part is, like, even during that period of time, I told other people in my life how dangerous they are and that they should absolutely not take them. And, you know, I was giving other people advice that I wasn't listening to myself. Like, none of this even makes sense to me, honestly. I don't know why I've done this to myself. But sure enough, I started taking these tablets, and all of a sudden I was able to eat literally nothing. I was no longer getting hungry and shaky, like skipping meals, because the tablets reduce your appetite so much that you don't even think about food anymore. And like I said, for me, my whole life, food has just been a constant battle for me because I've been starving myself for so long. It turns you into being obsessed with food and not being able to stop thinking about food. So honestly, like, for the last 4 years, I was not eating breakfast for starters, and I know a lot of people intermittently fast and talk about it and stuff, but I really would warn you against that as well. Intermittent fasting does work for weight loss, but it only should be used and I mean, I'm not obviously not like a dietitian, I'm not like a medical doctor. Yes, I'm a registered nurse, and yes, I'm a fully qualified paramedic, but that still doesn't give me the right to give you information. Like, this is just my experience, so please take that on board as well. But yeah, intermittent fasting should not be used long term. It dumps your metabolism so much. Please do not do it for too long. So I found with these tablets, I could skip breakfast. Great. You know, that was, let's say 400, 500 calories that I didn't have to eat for the day. Oh my gosh, yes, you're killing it. You know, achievement, because the way that I rewarded with myself and the way that I felt in control was by starving myself. It was this really sick snowball effect. And because of the tablets, I also found that I could skip lunch. Yes, even more calories I didn't even have to worry about. I could very easily starve myself for really long periods of time because the tablets basically just switch off the hunger in your brain. You don't think about being hungry, you don't think about food, and you just carry on. So yes, I lost weight. And the sad part about all of this, I did this to myself. And you know, these tablets have got very, very serious side effects. Like, people have died from taking them, you know, incredibly high risks of heart attack, stroke. They put your blood pressure up through the roof. They raise your heart rate so much. Like, most days my resting heart rate, you know, taking these was like 105, 110. And the sick and sad part about all of this is I've got all this medical training and it still meant nothing. I was so desperate to fit this perfect mold, you know, that I'd created for myself. I was so desperate to be this perfect skinny person that, you know, could go to events and not feel like shit and not feel like the fat girl in the room. That, like, all of that knowledge, all of that training, it just basically went out the door. So not only was I able to skip meals, but I felt like shit all the time. I felt like crap constantly. Sure, they give you a lot of energy because, you know, they work kind of like an amphetamine does. I was cleaning the house, you know, I was doing all this sort of crazy stuff. I was basically burning the candle at both ends. I was having huge anxiety attacks, major anxiety attacks, like literally just so terrified and feeling like my heart was going to stop because it was beating that hard. So dangerous, honestly. And I don't know why more people aren't talking about this, because I know that there are so many people out there, especially women, who are taking these and who have been through this, you know, experience, and they're just not talking about it. And obviously I've been so ashamed. I hid the tablets in the back of the medicine cupboard so that nobody knew about them, so that nobody knew I was taking them. I never told a soul other than Brandon that I was taking them. I have just, you know, I was so ashamed. I knew I was doing the wrong thing. I knew that I was abusing my body, and I didn't care. I just wanted to be skinny. Now, obviously, when you starve yourself, like I said, there's points in time where your brain, your body's whole purpose in life is to survive. It's survival of the fittest, you know, it just wants to live. And there were so many times there when my brain just took over and it was like, no, you're not starving yourself anymore. And I was mindlessly eating without even realizing. And, you know, super late at night, like 9 o'clock at night, unable to stop myself from eating because I had literally not eaten a thing in like 2.5 days. It's absolutely terrible. And, you know, I was doing that at the same time as running 6, 7, 8 kilometers a day, plus an hour of weight training, plus walking. Like, I was killing myself at the gym trying to fit like this perfect little cookie cutout of what I thought I should be. Now, yes, I lost weight. And the sad part about all of this is it was the same 5 kilos that I've always been losing and gaining through all the yo-yo dieting. Like, my body was again smart enough to not let me get to such a low body weight where I would become too unhealthy. It would mindlessly binge to counteract the starvation, and it was the same 5 kilos. I would lose it. I would use the tablets for like 3 months at a time. I would lose that 5 kilos, and then I would gain it back as soon as I stopped taking them. And then I was like, oh my God, you fat pig, you've ballooned out again. Like, and 5 kilos is nothing, and I'm so ashamed, but I'm trying to be as upfront and honest as possible about this experience as I possibly can be. I felt so ashamed. I felt disgusting. I felt like the best thing that I could do to teach myself a lesson was to punish myself again. So I would starve myself for another 3 months on the tablets, lose the 5 kilos, gain the 5 kilos. Now, this cycle went on for years. And obviously, when you are doing that to yourself, and the binge period, it's not like I was binging on kale salad and chicken breasts. I was binging on takeout. I was binging on, pizza and KFC, and just basically your brain looks and it tells you, it gives you these cravings, it gives you these signals for the most calorie dense food possible, because it is trying to get energy in to prepare itself for its next starvation period. I basically trained my body to survive on nothing, and then it would overtake and refuel. So during this whole process, I was not eating anything that was really that healthy for me. Like, on the tablets, I could very easily restrict myself to about 600, 700 calories a day, and I would try to eat good things. So, and sometimes I just wouldn't eat for days on end. Like, it was so bad. And I don't know, it just made me feel so good. It made me feel like, yes, like I'm actually achieving something. Like, I've actually got control over this situation. And food's no longer a problem for me. And I felt so much better, and people could call me fat online, and it didn't, I couldn't feel it like I normally felt it, because I was like, well, I've starved myself. So you calling me fat means nothing. There's nothing in that insult, because I've already starved myself. And obviously with all of this yo-yo dieting came this insane set of rules. Like, I literally had it was like the 10 commandments of what I could do and what I couldn't do with food. I restricted myself. I had food that was good, and then I had food that was bad. And the sad part is that a lot of the food that was in the bad section that I wouldn't let myself eat is food that's really good for you. Bananas, brown rice, actually not even just bananas, any kind of fruit. I wouldn't eat fruit because I was like, oh no, there's sugar in fruit. Sugar will make me fat. I'm not eating any fruit. I've been scared of bananas. I have been scared of bananas. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? I wouldn't dare let a banana into my mouth. Obviously, binging is a whole nother story, but like I said, as you binge on junk food because your brain takes over and it's like, I just need calories to survive and I need them now. You don't binge on bananas. It's so sad. And I just had it so twisted in my head. All of these rules. No sugar. Does it fit your macros? It's got to be the right percentage of protein and fat. Does it fit the calories, or is it too many calories? Because, if you eat that big breakfast that maybe is perfectly delicious and healthy, you're going to have to skip lunch because you need to punish yourself for eating too many calories in the morning. And then, God forbid, it gets to dinner time, and after dinner time you're still hungry. Okay, drink a liter of water to try and not feel hungry. It went on and on and on and on. And every time a diet failed or my rules failed, I came up with a new set of rules, because okay, now this is where I need to be. This is what I need to do. Obviously, these periods of starvation and then binging, what comes out of that is malnutrition. Now, I have just had a hell of a time, and I have absolutely completely destroyed my metabolism through this process. So really, really, really bad hair loss. My hair has just been falling out in chunks, and I'm so mortified about it. And the sad part is some level of me knew that this was the reason why I was losing hair, but I talk to you guys and I'd be like, oh, I'm losing hair, but it just, whatever, it's just because of this or that. And, I'm doing this now and it's much better. And yes, I certainly took lots of different supplements and stuff, and it did help a lot with the hair loss. But my hair was falling out because I was not getting enough nutrients into my body. I became very, very anemic. I had absolutely no energy to do anything anymore. Hair was falling out in chunks, in the shower, and it still terrifies me. I'm scared to wash my hair. I'm actually scared to wash my hair because that much of it falls out when I'm in the shower. And it's something that I've caused, I've brought this on myself. I have nobody to blame but myself, because I'm the one that made these really, really poor decisions. And that's what I mean. I don't want anyone else to do this. I don't want anyone else to go through what I've been through. So hair falling out in absolutely huge chunks. My hair is so thin. It is so much thinner than it used to be. I've always had really, really, really thick hair, and it's all gone. My sleep has been affected in a really, really major way. It's better now because I'm better now. I'm not treating my body as badly as I had been. I'm on the path to recovery, I guess you could say now. But a lot of the time, and we would go to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I would wake up at 1 a.m., couldn't get back to sleep. Some nights I couldn't even fall asleep. I would be awake for 24, 36, 48 hours at a time because my body was just so messed up and just trying so hard to survive that it wouldn't even let me sleep. The cortisol levels in my body, the stress levels in my body were so high that I couldn't even sleep, and it was all from starving myself. Absolute lack of energy. By the time lunchtime came around, all I could do was lie on the couch all afternoon because I had no energy to do anything, because I had no fuel in my system to produce energy to do anything. I lost interest in pretty much everything that I enjoy. I no longer enjoyed the things that I've always enjoyed doing. I no longer felt happy anymore. Shaky all the time. Like I couldn't even hold like a glass of water. Like my hand would it would slosh everywhere. I was just so shaky and weak. I couldn't lift my arms above my head for longer than like maybe 10 seconds without getting so dizzy that I felt like my legs were going to give in. Like malnutrition is it is so serious, and I really am so embarrassed that I did this to myself, especially with all that medical knowledge. Like of all the people who would know better, you think that I would be that person, but apparently not. And because of the way these tablets work, because they are, I guess, kind of like amphetamines, I would have energy. So I would take the tablet in the morning at about 6 a.m. and I would have energy until about lunchtime because I was like fueled by the drug, like I was fueled by the tablet. I could still do my 5K run. I could still film. I could still, I could get what I needed to get done very, very quickly and, get it all over and done with by lunchtime before you crash. And that's how I basically survived for years. Essentially, the bottom line is I was killing myself to try and be skinny enough to be accepted by society. And the reality is that I never needed to lose weight in the first place. I never had a problem. I never had an unhealthy body weight in the first place. Like as far as the medical definition goes, I'm a normal sized girl. Like I'm a size 10 down the bottom, sometimes a 12 because I do have a big bum, size 8 at the top. Like I'm little. I'm about 5'3". I'm only very, very short. Medically, my BMI is in a perfectly healthy range. And my body fat percentage is in a perfectly healthy range. I never had an issue to begin with. The only issue that I had was in my head. Now, we only get one body, and this is the part that really gets me, and this is the part that I really want to get across to you guys. We only get one body. We only get, you only get so much time. Time is so, so, so valuable, and your health is so, so valuable. You can't screw up your first body and then get a second body, like a backup. There is no backup. If you abuse your body, if you don't treat it well, if you poison it, if you starve it, if you put it through hell like I have, there is no backup. You don't get a second chance. You end up with a myriad of conditions. I'm so lucky and touch wood that I haven't got anything more serious than a completely screwed up metabolism. Like because I abused my system so much to not gain weight, and this is the thing, like this is what's so sad about it all, to be able to actually maintain my weight and not gain weight because I'd abused it so much and because I had dumped my metabolism so hard. To not gain weight, I could only eat about 800 calories a day. And I had to exercise. If I ate any more than that, I would gain weight. And like I said, it's because my body was just grabbing onto absolutely everything that it could to be able to fuel itself, to be able to function and stay alive. It got to a point when I was, lying in bed awake at 2 a.m. like I had been for so long. And the thing is, you feel so tired. I was so exhausted all the time. Like I could barely stand up. I was so exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. And I was laying there and I was like, Nikkia, what are you doing to yourself? Why do you hate yourself this much? Why have you treated yourself so badly for so long? Like, enough is enough. This absolutely has to stop, and it stops right now. Like, I think it finally, things clicked in me, and I knew in the background that I was doing it all along, but it really clicked for me that I was literally killing myself, and enough was enough, and it had to stop. Like, it had to stop. So thankfully now I'm not doing it. I threw the tablets out. I will never take them again. I'm at a much healthier place now, and basically I am in a process now of having to get my metabolism back to a healthy place, back to where it should be, and get my malnutrition back to a healthy place where it should be. Like, I'm so anemic. I don't have anywhere near enough B vitamins. Like, I've got a whole myriad of problems and, issues that I'm dealing with as a result of this, but we are on the right path now. Like, things are going in a good direction. A part of the process of getting my body back to where it needs to be is that I'm needing to actually eat enough to be able to fuel my body and my activity. And basically that means that I'm now having to eat enough calories every single day to meet my basal metabolic rate, without exercise taken into consideration. Obviously, on days that I exercise, I need to eat more because I need to be able to convince my body now that I'm no longer starving, that I'm not in some great famine, that it doesn't need to store every single last little thing that I put in my mouth, that it's okay and that we can start to use food for energy. So I am doing that now. I'm trying to aim for 1,800 calories a day, and honestly, it's been a really difficult process for me because like this thing in my head, like every time I look at a piece of food, because I had all these rules, all these crazy rules over the years that I had to stick by. And if I didn't stick by them perfectly, then I would punish myself, because that was the only way that I could feel good about myself. So, don't eat carbs, or don't eat fat. That's got 5%, 5% sugar per 100 grams. You can't eat that. You can't have rice. You can't have wheat. You can't have dairy. You can't have grains. You can't have this, that, and the other. Like, so many rules. No eating after 6 p.m. Like, no eating before 12 p.m. Like, the biggest part of getting out of this for me is letting go of all these rules. So that's a really big part of it as well. But the biggest part of it for me is learning to actually not hate myself. I need to learn not to hate myself. And I don't know what it is about me. I don't know why I hate myself so much, because it's not like I look at other people who are a size 10 or I don't look at them and think, oh, you're disgusting, you're fat. Like, I think that everybody else at every size is beautiful. I think that you're beautiful if you're a size 4. I think that you're beautiful if you're a size 16, 18, 20. Like, the way that I think in here about me doesn't apply to how I think about other people. Like, and I don't know where this huge mismatch came from. I've just been obsessed with it ever since I was so young. So now I just really have to accept that I am enough. I might not be a size 4. I may not fit into a size 0 pair of jeans, but that's okay. I'm that, it doesn't matter that I don't. And like, the thing is, like, Brandon absolutely loves me so much. And it just breaks my heart. It honestly breaks my heart. He's never once thought, that I was overweight. And when I was losing all of the weight on these crazy tablets, he was like, baby, you're too, like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you're beautiful. I love your body. You don't need to lose weight. I didn't listen. Of course I didn't listen. I was obsessed with being like the girls on the magazines. It's been a really emotional week with this. I'm really learning. I am learning how to be healthy, and I honestly, I am so ashamed, because I do think of myself as a really well-educated person. I realize this video has become really, really long, and I want to say to you, if you out there watching this, if you are yo-yo dieting, if you are starving yourself on only 1,200 calories a day and killing yourself doing like an hour of cardio a day, please understand, please stop, please listen to me. And I know that you've already read a million things that say that it doesn't work. Please listen to me when I tell you it does not work. You cannot starve yourself and expect to lose weight. Your body is too smart. It thinks you're in a famine. It does not work. If you are really, really seriously wanting to lose weight, and if you actually need to lose weight, that's the other thing. Like, if you actually medically need to, or for whatever reason you want to lose weight, do not restrict your calories more than about 15%. You will tank your metabolism. It will not work, and you will gain all of the weight that you lose. You will put it all back on, and plus some, and you will feel miserable and you will hate yourself. Do not do it. And please stop yo-yo dieting. Don't think that you can go on a crazy diet. You can't do keto for 6 weeks and expect to be able to stay skinny your entire life. Any weight that you lose doing the keto diet, you're going to put back on. These crash diets don't work. Like, abusing diet pills doesn't work. Abusing exercise doesn't work. It really, firstly, we need to stop and take a minute and think, I don't need to look like the girls on the TV. I don't need to look like the Victoria's Secret models. I don't need to look like the girls in the magazine. I'm okay how I am. I'm beautiful the way that I am. I'm beautiful for who I am and what I am. I don't need to look like that to be successful, to live a happy life, to feel happy within myself. You don't need to be skinny to be happy. And it's not worth putting yourself through the torture. It's not worth putting yourself through any of it. I've put myself through hell, absolute hell, trying to fit into this this perfect picture that I had of myself, and it was never going to work because I've got an hourglass figure. Like, what? there's no possible way to reduce the size of the bones of my hips. Like, I don't know why I thought it was ever going to work. Unless I was to go and get like crazy procedures done, you know, implants, get ribs removed or whatever, get liposuction, get a boob job. Like, I've only got like a size C boobs. I'm quite small, you know, at the top. Like, unless I went to that level, I was never going to be what I was trying to be. And I can't figure out now why. It astonishes me that I have hurt my body and I've harmed my body so much, and my mind, and, you know, my happiness and my soul. I don't know why I have punished and hurt myself so much trying to be something that I never needed to be in the first place. You are enough. You are beautiful exactly the way you are. Once you get to a point where you can accept that, and like, I'm a long way. To be perfectly honest, you know, I'm not like, oh, I'm over here, I'm perfect and I'm healed and I'm fine. Like, every time I look in the mirror, I still think that I'm fat. Every time you know, the things that I'm eating, I'm still in the back of my head going, well, how many calories is that, Nikkia? You know, should you really be eating that? Do you really deserve to eat that? Perhaps you shouldn't. Perhaps you should go and go for another run today. Like, I still have all of those voices in my head telling me these things, but I'm getting much better at not listening to them. It's going to be a long process. It's not going to be something that's just going to be fixed overnight. And I just really hope that me sharing a little bit about what I've been through and what I've put myself through, I hope that it helps any of you out there who are going through this, and I hope that it stops you from this awful vicious cycle of, you know, yo-yo dieting and self-hate and binge eating, because it is a really, really dangerous cycle. I'm not going to lie, I've researched liposuction. I'm a size 10, so this is like a size 10 in Australia. I'm not sure, I think it's equivalent to like a 6, I don't know, internationally. As a fit athletic person, I've been researching liposuction. Yeah. It's, you know, it's terrible. It is, and I'm done with it, you know. I refuse to put so much pressure on myself. And the other thing is too, like, you see all of these celebrities, like, you know, on Instagram in bikinis and stuff. And let's take Kylie Jenner, for example. Her entire body is fabricated. Guys, it's not real. She has had liposuction pretty much everywhere. You know, you don't have a baby and then a week later look like a Victoria's Secret model. No. They've got fake boobs. They've got hip implants. They've got bum implants. They even get like shoulder implants and stuff to make their shoulders look bonier, you know, so that they look skinnier. They've had procedures done on their arms. They've had like ribs removed. Like, these bodies aren't real, and on top of all of that, they are photoshopped. Please don't look at that and think, you know, because you don't look like that in the mirror, that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect the way you are. It's just, unfortunately, the sad reality of the world that we live in, and, you know, the social pressures of perfect, like, skinny is the only way. Like, if you're not skinny, you're awful, or you're not successful, or you're not good enough. Like, we have to break this cycle. And being in this environment and doing what I do, like, it didn't help me at all, but I feel like in some ways it was a blessing in disguise, because I've been through the hard yards. I recognize it a lot better now, and I think it's going to help me, you know, heal a lot faster than if I didn't, you know, go through all of this. So please just listen to me when I say, don't do this to yourself. You don't need to lose 5 kilos. You don't. You're not even realistically going to look any different. Sure, your jeans might be a bit looser, but you don't need to. Stop punishing yourself. Stop, you know, avoiding going out for brunch with friends because you're so scared of eating something that doesn't fit on your diet. And, you know, stop walking past every other female and thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm not as skinny as her, so I'm disgusting. You don't need to do that to yourself. You don't need to lose weight. Just stop it. Please stop. Stop it. It's so unhealthy. And the only thing that's going to come out of it is you feeling more miserable than you do now. You'll end up like me. You don't want to end up like me. So yeah, I think I'm going to finish this video here before I'm just way too much of a blubbering mess. I already am. If you're still watching, you know, thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. And thank you, you know, for all the support that you've given me over the years. Like, I just felt like I was lying to you all because everyone's like, oh, Nikkia, you're in such great shape. You know, what do you do to stay in shape? And I was like, oh, I exercise and I eat well. And no, I've been starving myself. I've been killing myself to stay skinny, and I'm not going to lie about it anymore. The best thing that I can do is to just be totally upfront about it, be totally honest about it, and hopefully that will prevent you doing the same thing to yourself, because I'm honestly so ashamed for doing this. So I hope that this delivers a message to maybe at least one person out there that needed to hear this, that needed to know. I hope that it helps, and please, 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 there's truly nothing better than supporting, you know, other people out there who maybe are in the same situation. So if you do have something helpful to share, please put it in the comment section down below. It will certainly help me out, and I'm sure that, you know, other people who have suffered with self-hate like this their whole lives, I'm sure that it will help them too. I just really hope that together we can put an end to this, and hopefully we'll start feeling a lot better about ourselves. I just really don't want anybody else to go through what I have been through. It has been a really awful, you know, the last 15 years of my life I should have been in my prime, and instead I was too busy beating myself up thinking I was fat. It doesn't get sadder than that. Your health is your wealth. Stay healthy. You don't get that time back. You don't get your health back. Look after yourself. Please look after yourself. So yeah, I'm going to go now, guys. Thank you again for listening. It means a lot to me. I love you all heaps, and I will catch you in my next video, where I'm sure I'll be a lot more chirpy than this, and we'll be talking about the things that we usually talk about here on my channel. So yes, I love you guys heaps, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.